Welcome to In the Lab with the Scientechs. And today we're going to introduce our new podcast where we are going to talk about current events with the Scientechs here in the lab. And then we're going to be interviewing a business owner, someone that we think would be a good fit to have on the podcast. So today you're going to want to stay tuned to the end of this where we bring on Julie and David Kennedy, owners of Stomping Grounds Coffee right there in Valley Station. They're going to talk about how the community really came together to help get those linemen some coffee after they've really worked hard to get us back and get the majority of the community back in power. So, like I said, you've seen the sign fall. This is all a brand new podcast. So we'll kind of
it didn't work. Our sticker didn't work.
We got ghosts up here.
There was thumb gum back there, but I guess it didn't stick.
Thumb gum didn't stick. So,
I knew it was gonna fall.
So Tyler,
did anybody lose power? Did y'all?
Mine flickered, man. Mine flickered. But I had a tree fall on my camper, so yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it was like
so
half
address
of the
your
street.
trees and check them out. You know, if they have any crazy vines growing up in things or dead limbs that are looking like they're about to fall out. So when you know that them high winds are going to come in, make sure you address those. So you won't be like me and
Just leave it down.
have a camper smashed. You know.
Yeah.
So.
Speaking about the camper, Tyler, what exactly happened? Did you have a tree that was dead on your property, or was it your neighbor's tree?
It was my neighbor's tree.
Your neighbor's tree.
Yeah. So before they moved in, the neighbor, we noticed all the vines, so we kind of trimmed it up what we thought would be necessary. But it wasn't on our property, so we didn't want to have to hack it down. We didn't know who to talk to hack it down. So,
Sure.
Yeah, we did what we could on our side, and
Their tree still went through your camper.
went through the fence, through the camper. So,
Right.
yes.
And that's where, as a neighborhood, you know, we got to come together, especially where you live with how the house is so close
They're
together.
so close. Yeah.
It ain't going to take much for someone else's
Stuff to fall on
damage
it.
your house.
Right. Yeah. So. Yeah, if you're out there, I would address your neighbor's trees or talk to them about the trees.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucked though, man, because we were driving through New Albany to go pick the girls up from daycare, and there was a tree laying on a customer's house that I took care of in Indiana, and he had dementia. And as we were driving by, I noticed the tree and recognized the house, and I said, "Babe, stop!" Ran inside to check on him because I was, has dementia. He didn't know what's going on, and stopped, checked, opened the door. Hey, seen him sitting in his chair. How you doing? Just want to check on you, make sure you're okay. And his son came walking around the corner. Hey, how you doing? I was like, doing good, sir. Just wanted to make sure the old man's doing all right. Looks like you guys took on some damage, and just things like that, man. He was so happy because this guy lived out of town.
Right.
He wasn't local with his dad, so he traveled in for the storm just to take care of him. And just little things like that, man. That guy was so impressed that, someone within the community knew who his dad was, knew his condition, and was able to stop by and check on him.
Yeah.
And as people, that's just something that we need to do more of.
Yeah.
You know
Sure.
what I mean? Helping our neighbors.
Yeah. Definitely makes a big
Taking
difference.
care of our
Goes a
own
long way.
trees.
Yeah.
Yeah, being proactive before, because a tree falls down on something, it can get expensive.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because insurance works weird on campers. Depending on what your policy is, it may not be covered. So,
Or where the tree's at.
or where the tree's
Yeah.
at.
Or condition of the tree. Sometimes it's like if the tree's dead,
Yeah.
they're going to say, well, that tree needed to be taken down before. So,
Yeah. And that's some of the questions they asked is like, have you addressed the tree? Did y'all talk to each other about the tree?
Yep.
And we were like, we didn't really talk to her about the tree, but we cut some of the tree off that we thought would be necessary.
Yeah, you did what you thought you were going to do to
Yeah.
protect your camper.
And we trimmed our front tree because we had a lot of dead limbs and stuff. So we want to be curious of the neighbors and stuff like that because we don't want to damage anybody's stuff just because we know how Mother Nature
Yeah, I think
is.
that's illegal to go onto their property and just cut their tree down anyway. So
Yeah, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. So
yeah, what are some things that people can do if a storm's coming up? Like just to be proactive, just making sure trees are taken care of. If you see something that may be rotten or dead, maybe kind of have that conversation.
yeah.
Just so you kind of have it up in there like, hey, neighbor, your tree looks like it's not in the best of condition.
Right. And
Have
don't want it to
somebody
fall.
out there.
Yeah.
yeah,
And like turning your power off, making sure your generators are ready to rock.
yeah, checking fuel, powering them up, make sure they come on.
Make sure you got candles if you don't got generators, things that you
have some light.
have some light, have some flashlights,
Some batteries.
batteries.
You want to know what's really funny though is watching the kids when the power goes out.
they don't know what to do these days. They're like, my TV.
My tablet.
We don't have Wi-Fi. What am I gonna do?
Yeah. Yeah, watching them run around the house trying to find things to do was pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
Even the neighbor kids all sitting out there walking around with candles in the house and not knowing what to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, checking your generator, man, because I know, we all use electricity to run our houses, your HVAC, your refrigerator, everything. So making sure that thing's ready to go. And if you don't have one, start thinking about buying one, because this is, pretty close to the last storm we had where we lost power.
Mm-hmm.
This is a good time to start thinking about those things.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we take for granted, like when the power goes off for 30 minutes to an hour, we just assume that it's going to come right back on. But, man, there's been people without power for days.
Yeah.
And it's like, at some point, you're going to need to take a shower, wash clothes, and, get food, cook.
Charge your phones. I mean, everything.
It's pretty cool. I seen one of the local small grocery stores in town actually set up a spot in their grocery store to charge your phone and had like free snacks.
Off their generators?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, I guess they didn't lose power at the grocery store.
Dang.
Gotcha.
That's awesome.
That's pretty cool seeing actually a company like that give a spot for people to come that don't have electric to charge phones and just get a snack.
Yeah, that usually don't happen.
No.
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier to get past these types of things when everybody joins together to help.
Yeah, for
help
sure.
each other out. Yeah.
For sure.
Invite your neighbors over for a board game.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
Have conversation. That's something we need to do more of.
For sure.
Damn, COVID made us all unsociable.
That
We don't want to talk to no one.
That
technology
technology makes it easy to get on Messenger and message somebody versus going and actually seeing them and having a conversation with them and spending quality time with them.
Yeah.
It's hard to really learn about somebody or get to know somebody over messaging.
Yeah.
A lot of things get twisted and you can perceive things differently. And
Yeah, because you don't know their tone and inflection from a text message. I hate text messages.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't know if he's
my thing
mad,
is if
sad.
any important phone call or any important matters, call me. Don't text me.
Yeah.
Give me a phone call and we'll handle this.
No, I like the text. We need to talk before the phone call.
I'm like, oh God, something's going on.
Yeah, so what happened? But yeah, no, it's and it's funny because me and Cody had this conversation yesterday when we were out running calls. It's up to us the life that we want to live. You know what I mean? Do we want to be tied to our devices, or do we want to socialize and get back to our roots? But at the same time, we're all capable of doing it. We just choose not to.
Yeah.
And we can put the phones down. We can turn the TV off.
Yeah.
And just having that conversation. I mean, think about your spouses and the challenges that people are facing nowadays because of the lack of communication.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
That's true.
Yeah.
You're both on your phone, back to back at bedtime or something,
Yeah, you know what I mean? You just don't spend quality time with each other anymore due to our devices. It's easy to be distracted. And it's like trying to keep my child's attention. It's like I can keep it for maybe 2 seconds. That's it.
Yeah.
They're ready for something different.
Yeah.
And it's because of the access they have to everything. Whatever they want, they get.
Yeah.
So it's pretty wild to see how things are. Like I put a set of headphones on my daughter the other day for the first time, dude. And like to me, it was just headphones, but she's never had the experience of wearing something that's putting noise in her ears. Yeah. And it was just so funny. She couldn't even walk straight.
She was like, holy hell.
Yeah, she was screaming upstairs and we were downstairs and it was just a mess. She didn't know where anybody was and she got scared because she couldn't hear us.
That's crazy. Like, who put these on me and left me alone?
But that was probably a mistake, really. We'll see.
Yeah, she's going to be in her own zone.
Yeah, now she's going to be in her own zone, not hearing nobody. That's how Landon is when he first got his AirPods. He'd be on the couch. I'm like, hey, Landon, come here. I'm like, did he hear me? I'm like, what are you doing, Landon? Oh, yeah, sorry, I can't hear you. I was like, you got both earbuds on the couch with the TV going, looking at your phone. And when I needed you, I can't hear you. Sorry. What?
Yeah. And it's like, what do? Do you not allow your kids to have that stuff, or do you just set boundaries with it?
It's got to be boundaries.
Set boundaries.
Yeah, you can't like say they can't have them because then they're going to go crazy once they can get their hands on
And
them.
once they get it, you can't get it off of them.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, because it's not like it's necessarily a bad thing. As long as it can be a bad.
It can turn into a bad. Yes.
Yeah, it can be a bad thing because it can lead to many things.
Yeah.
But setting the boundaries, I feel like keeps you're watching what they're getting on. They're not staying up real late.
Right.
Things like that.
The good thing with technology is they have so many different ways to like set parameters.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They even get reports of like how long were you on a certain app or a certain phone.
Yeah.
Parental controls.
I have that with my son on Xbox. Yeah, parental control. So like if somebody ever tries that, like he can't add anybody. It all is all. I have to enter a password and things like that for him to be able to talk because. Yeah, when you get to online playing, it's like
Totally different, man.
yeah, people. There's no filter with kids these days on live gaming. So you gotta watch what he's hearing and who he's.
Yes, who he's intermittent with. Yeah, for sure.
Well, to touch on a little bit of kind of being active, I guess, in your environment, we talked to Julie and David about the coffee shop, right? There's a lot of coffee shops coming in town that's actually getting rid of the dining experience.
Just drive up.
Yeah, they're just wanting to promote just drive-thrus, which drive-thrus are important. Like, there's times of the day where I just go through a drive-thru because it's just more convenient. But I enjoy going in, spending 5 minutes talking to somebody that I ain't seen in a long time.
Yeah.
And just being, in that environment where you're not stuck in your phone, always ordering from an app. From being here in the office, I was, like, so against, like, Uber Eats and, like, delivery services. Now I'm like, I can sit here for 8 hours and I have to leave and my food comes to me?
Yeah.
Oh, sign me up. And then I'm like, 2 weeks later, I'm like, I hadn't left the office. Like, I've been nowhere. I've just stayed here all day. I go here, home, here, home.
Right.
And I think if you kind of like can recognize that and like set a boundary, it's like, hey, we're not going to do that. Yeah. Tomorrow I'm excited. I get to go out to Khalil's on Dixie.
Okay.
One of the networking groups that I was in. Once a month they have a meeting, so I get to go out there and hang out there for a little while. So I'm excited about that.
Get away from the show.
Have some conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And dude, that's what's crazy about this industry too, is like when you're in this industry, you find everything you talk about is HVAC.
Yep.
Right. It's so nice to have a conversation with people that doesn't regard what you do for a living.
Yeah.
And being able to go to coffee shops like that and meet people and find out what they do. You know what I mean? Is nice. And like you said, the convenience of the drive-thrus are nice when you're in a hurry. But sometimes we need to slow down a little bit and remember, hey, this conversation's good for health. It really is. Communicating with people is huge.
Knowing what's going on in your community, that goes a long way. Yeah. When you can sit there and talk to your neighbor about something that's going on. It's like maybe y'all can join forces and help each other out.
Because you never know who you're gonna meet either. So that can lead to many avenues, like telling your neighbor, and then maybe they have a way to be able to help.
Yep.
Whatever situation there is, Yep.
Cool. All right, we're gonna go into our tier talk. All right, tier talk. We kind of stole from another podcast. We're gonna kind of redo it a little bit.
It's a little R&D, Robin.
Yeah, Robin. Nothing wrong with R&D. All right, if it works, it works.
It works.
So here's what we're gonna do. We have Julie and David on. So we're gonna go around and talk about our top 3 tiers of either coffee shops or coffee. All right. So it can be any 3 different coffees or coffee shops, but whatever your top 3 are, go ahead and rate them. Tier 3 being the worst, and it's not necessarily the worst. It's not number 1. Number 1's the best. And then after that person goes, we'll go around and let everybody know how we feel about their rating. And we'll start with Jaden in the back. Do you have a mic back there?
No, I do not.
You don't?
Leave it on this frame and come get yours.
We're going to start with Jaden.
J-Dog's tier talk.
J-Dog's tier talk.
All right, you're going to cut all that out.
All right, so I don't drink coffee, but I do like Starbucks pink drinks. So that's definitely a number 1. But Stomping Grounds, they have really good hot chocolate, and their sweets are fire. That's about all I've ever get. So I used to live out by Stomping Grounds, so we would stop to and from school.
Nice.
All right. Now, go around Tyler.
All right, so I don't drink coffee much either, so I got.
We do that. No, one word.
Or, one word? Okay.
All right, so now we're going to give our opinion on Jaden's top 2.
He said what? Stomping Grounds?
Yeah, Stomping Grounds.
Drink
Got hot
Starbucks
chocolate.
pink drink.
Pink drink,
right.
that's cute. Everly and Caitlin love that drink.
Yeah, she does. My daughter
Man,
loves it.
dragon fruit is fire. I'm with you, brother.
So I'm going to rate Jaden's podcast. I'm going to rate Jaden's
Tier. Yeah.
tiers, and I'm going to just say young.
Young. Okay.
It's fire, man. I'm with it.
He's goofy. He's goofy.
I'm fine.
Yeah, I'll young. That's a good one.
Can't steal my.
I'm not.
No. Just give him a word.
It's just one word. Gen Z.
All right, Tyler.
My tier or
Your tier, yeah.
all right. So I'm gonna say since I don't usually drink coffee, so I went with the wife last night and asked her what her tiers would
There
be.
you go.
So
Did some research. for
yeah,
us.
did some
All right.
research before I come in here. But she says her tier 1 is Heine Brothers. Heine Brothers is located in Louisville. A lot of people don't know that it started here in Louisville.
Yep.
So it's not like, any other states.
Right.
So that's her her tier 1. Her tier 2 is she loves the Stomping Grounds. Yeah, she loves everything there. So anything hot, anything cold, she'd be taking it. No sweets or nothing. And then her tier 3, I think she said there was a new place on Fern Creek, is like Nevada or something. Only had it a couple times, brand new. She says it's okay. So yeah, that's my tiers, man. Her tiers.
Her tiers.
So let's hear them words, boys.
I've never been to any of them, man.
Really? Yeah, they just put one in pretty close to our house. So
Yeah.
well, it's been there a couple years.
I like the Heine Brothers because that's good. That's Heine Coffees. That's good. But the other two I haven't heard of.
Where are they
Stomping-
located?
All right.
Stomping Grounds is in
I
Valley.
got my
Heine's in
word.
Valley. And then
Persuaded.
Persuaded. Yeah.
I guess. I guess.
Trying
She
to think.
persuaded me into telling you that.
Okay, so my turn.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna go with Colkin Coffee, located off Charlestown Road, New Albany, Indiana, and then I'm going with Dunkin' Donuts, strictly for the bagel bites, and then we're going with Starbucks for the pink drink, baby.
Sissy.
Yeah, it's
Come on, man, everybody
mediocre,
likes a
dude.
fruity drink. I don't care what you say.
I haven't
You
had
don't
the
have to
I haven't
admit it.
had the dragon fruit drink from there.
That's mediocre. I don't like it at Dunkin' Donuts.
I like me some Dunkin' Donuts.
Nope.
What you got for me?
Predictable.
There you go. Oh.
That's why my wife loves me.
Ain't nothing wrong with it. If it works, man.
Yeah. But I'm telling you, man, a hot summer day, you go to Starbucks, you get that dragon fruit drink. It's amazing. I mean, it cools you down. It's refreshing.
Is it worth the money?
Well, yeah.
I don't know about it. I don't know about it.
If I do Starbucks, I'm doing a white chocolate mocha.
All right, Cody.
Your turn. Your
My
tears.
3. I'm gonna say Coffee Crossing. It's over in Indiana. I don't know if there's one in Kentucky. They got a few in Indiana. They're kind of growing pretty heavily over there. I'm gonna go with them for my first. My second, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to say Starbucks. I'm not gonna lie. And then my third is a little local shop called My Cup Runneth Over in Borden in my town, and it's pretty good. And you can get. I've gotten like fresh coffee grounds that I bought from them, and then went home and made some coffee. It's actually really good.
Tastes the same?
Yes. Yeah, as the coffee that you're getting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hoosier.
Yeah.
He said Hoosier.
Gotta keep it local.
Shit, what's my word for you? I don't even know. Twinsy.
Predictable.
Yeah.
Come on, man. We're simple guys.
Twinsy.
Simple. That's what I like. Good word.
There you go. That's a good
Simple.
word. Yeah, simple.
All right, so if I got to do 3 coffee shops, we're going to go tier 3 being my least on the list. It's going to have to be Heine Bros Coffee because Tyler just pointed it out. Not a whole lot of people know that Heine Bros is actually a company that started here in Louisville. I think their headquarters might still be in Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
Good atmosphere, 1,000 times better than Starbucks. Starbucks is water coffee.
That's why you don't get the coffee.
So
you get the fruity drink.
get the fruity drink, yeah. So yeah, Heine Bros Coffee. They're everywhere in Louisville, so it's easy, convenient to get to. Tier 2 is going to be Sinagros Coffee. They've got 4, 5, 6, 7 different locations. No drive-thrus, I don't think, at any of their locations, but also another locally owned business. Great family, done some work for them, great people. And then got to go with my home coffee shop where I go Saturday morning. When me and Everly and Skylar wake up, where we go, we're going our asses straight to Stomping Grounds Coffee Valley Station. We may take a stop at Starbucks for the hot sandwiches. So if I do have a recommendation, let's get a kitchen in that bad boy.
There you go.
And get some hot
There you
croissants,
go.
Oh,
sandwiches,
yeah, for sure.
something hot that I can make one stop, because
Warm muffins.
I sit in that Starbucks and I just watch and I'm like, this place is crazy. It is nothing but a marketing,
Yes.
like, because it's not, the coffee is not good. If you're a coffee person, it's not good. Go there, blindfold test your coffee, and you're gonna see the difference between coffee shops. So, there's my tier talk.
Yeah, that is good. I like that. Then Stomping Grounds would be nice to have some hot sandwiches.
Oh my God.
in there, man.
They talk about the drive-through, but let's get a kitchen
Let's
in there
get the
first.
kitchen in
Yeah,
there
let's do a
first.
kitchen.
Yeah, there you go. Hell yeah, and then they won't be worrying about just serving coffees, man. You were serving sandwiches and coffees.
Yep.
Hell yeah. So
Stomping Grounds does have a nice little atmosphere there.
Yeah.
Like they have that reading area, nice little open spot in the front. Always quick service.
I think that's the most
do just
important thing.
one word.
It's
one word. Traditional.
Dedicated.
I'm gonna say, since they're smaller and local, I'm gonna say independent.
There you go. I respect that.
That's what I was going with. Kind of was independent, like he's dedicated to that company. Yeah.
Yeah.
Enough to have him on his podcast.
Yeah, they're awesome. Good people. For sure.
Well, I think that's it. We're gonna wrap this up. Meet us at Stomping Grounds.
Yeah, thanks for having us. What's up, guys? It's the Scientech. Hey, if your trees are ugly, you got branches that are gonna fall in your yard, and you're tired of looking at the mess, well, guess what? Your solution's gonna be fixed. Call Team Green. We're the best in the business. They'll get you right, good prices, make them ugly trees look into good trees. So call Team Green.
But I didn't know if you were doing an intro. That's why I thought. Are we recording?
we have a new we have restart here.
Busted everybody, though.
We have a new format. We're gonna do like an introduction to the podcast. It's all gonna be done with all our employees at the office in the lab. So the new podcast is in the lab with the Scientech. And then after that, we'll spin off to a location where y'all can come into our office. However,
So you have your own podcast. It's kind of like a podcast within a podcast. So
Yeah.
basically, it's like an interview, a segment of your podcast.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's like this podcast. Hey, by the way, we went out to I like those formats. I
So-
listened to a guy and he's like, hey, in this episode, we're getting this, but I'm gonna be talking about a new book at the end of the episode, and then you hear a little change in music, and then he starts talking about this book. You know what I mean? So,
I'm ashamed to say that I don't know.
Julie does not listen to podcasts.
Well, I do. I like Theo Vaughn and I like Jordan Peterson.
I like Theo.
But I watch his little
Jordan
clips
Peterson, I do.
over at
Bro,
Instagram.
Theo Vaughn has me in tears. We went and saw him at the Kentucky Center, dude, and I swear he
was he good? Everybody said he was really good.
He was hilarious.
He really was.
Insane.
He really
insane.
was. Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna sync the audio real quick. Alright. Sorry about that. I'll cut that out. Yeah, so that's kind of the format. We'll do our little segment.
Okay.
We might talk about a little bit of what we talked about today. Tyler will be there. Jaden will be there running the board in the back. He's our tech guy now. Yeah, that's hopefully, kind of bring a little bit of our personality up. Not be so HVAC. And not be so regimented. We're going to talk about this. And if we see something hop out in the community, we'll grab our stuff, go out. We know y'all were without power for a couple of days. And we want to kind of see how the community try to wrap around and go off.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Fortunately,
That's good.
you
We
all
got
got
plenty,
records, but-
we got plenty of stories on that.
Yeah, you're
so.
speaking our language.
Yep.
Yeah. Very cool.
So how has it been now that you got power back on?
Go ahead.
It's good. Today was really good because it beats a 0. So Friday evening, the lights were flickering on and off for probably an hour and a half, 2 hours, and Mark called. He's like, "Hey, I don't know what's going on. If we're going to lose power or not." I've been kind of sitting here for a while. We were thinking, do we just let him go home early, or whatever? So we were like, yeah, I'm going to send him home early. Just go and start clean up whatever you've done, shut the doors. And someone was in here who, has been experiencing homelessness, and so the storm was bad, and Mark was pretty good about just staying here and letting him hang out for a while and keeping it in the dark. And so we were just like, hey, whenever you're ready, man, just lock up. Just, obviously we don't want him to be unsafe. So, so the lights ended up going out, and then Saturday, I'd mentioned this in the video on Facebook, like, Saturday's up here on sales, and Sunday is like right here too. Sunday is like neck and neck. So those are two busiest days, right? The weekend sales kind of wag the dog in terms of like, money coming into the shop. Right. And so we were, scrambling on what to do. And so, so many people reached out to us, you being one of them, saying, hey, I got a generator. And I imagine you were getting phone calls off the hook. Cause I'm like, man, Julie's like, did you get a hold of Anthony? Like, I don't know where he is. I hope he's on the way with the generator. We don't need him. Right. And I've called you like a couple times and texted you. I'm like, bro, like whatever. But yeah, maybe you can explain like how people start reaching out, because they were reaching out to you before me. But today, obviously, it's like great to have the shop open, and we've been busy today. We've had several of our friends, I don't want to say customers, but people that we really respect that call this place their shop, reminding people, hey, weekend sales, businesses like this thrive on weekend sales, so let's help them make up for it. So yeah, and that happened.
And not only that, I've seen somebody actually brought y'all some milk.
Yes.
Oh, we had several people brought things.
Yes.
So
Ashley is, Ashley, I don't know that she's not here every day. I've even called her on Sundays when I'm not here, because Sundays are like our official day off that usually no one calls us. And David said he'd seen her in the parking lot, and she was like, I come bearing gifts, and rolled out with several gallons of milk.
That's awesome.
From Bullitt County. That's really, I think there's like 2 coffee shops there. So
soon
for
as she heard
her,
we had
she
power,
comes
she
here
just
every
ran and
day.
grabbed milk and showed up. George and Cynthia, they went to what they call you and just said, hey, we're going to the store, what do you need? We're coming in. They brought ice, they brought milk, they brought like almond milk. Like
Yeah,
the whole nine.
we originally, so we had no way of knowing, because we live over in PRP, how we were going to find out if the lights were on. So we kept coming in here. And so when we came in, luckily we had some coolers. We shoved all of what we had in the coolers and just packed it down full of ice, and was just like, finger crossed. Because for us, in small business life, which you do know this, I'm sure, every dollar matters. And I hate to say that I chase dollars. My new wording for it is like, I have to turn a lot of dollars for a profit on coffee. Because, coffee is not, sure, lattes are expensive. Honestly, if I didn't own a shop, I wouldn't be buying lattes. I get them for
Coffee
free.
is purely a volume game.
Yeah.
You gotta sell a
It's
lot
kind
of
of like
dollar
cigarettes.
coffee.
Really, it's like, I would say it's an addiction in a bad way for some. Like, some people really can't thrive without coffee.
Right.
Same thing with, cigarettes and things like that. They want their coffee.
I love my monsters, so
Yeah, so
one a day, so.
and so for us, we have to turn a lot of dollars to make a profit. So I was bothered because, what are we going to do? Saturday and Sunday are like our biggest sales,
Yep.
And then, but I really wasn't even, I think I was just as much concerned about our baristas, because I'm not in a position where I have $1 million. So I'm like, how am I going to pay these people? I have to. I pride myself on being a different type of boss. Like, this, you're a boss. You want to be fair, and you've got to be professional, but you also want to be a good boss. Like, you want your people to go home and be like, man, I really like working for Anthony and the crew. Like, these are my brothers. I want that here. And so I was telling David, I'm like, dude, they're obviously not working if they don't want money, right?
Right.
So what are we going to do? So Saturday, we get in here, and we're just kind of in a panic, I guess. And
We were at 5 a.m.
yeah, it was very stressful.
Obviously, it was off, and we ended up coming in. I think it was 7:45 or whatever, and that's when Khalil reached out.
No, that was yesterday. So yeah.
No, Saturday morning. He
Was
did.
it? No, I think it was yesterday.
They look, both days look alike.
Yeah, they did. They were like, you know that. So.
All y'all, yeah, all the weekend days.
So I called our accountant and I'm like, or like, do we get FEMA? Like, explain it to me, because there's still a lot that I'm learning being a business owner. I learn something new almost every day. And he was like, unfortunately, I don't think you are, but let's hope it's in your insurance, policy. And I'm like, oh man, is it one of those things where it's like, you don't know you need gap coverage until you need gap coverage? And so he was like, well, I'm afraid that might be your case. And I'm like, Dave, man, we're out thousands of dollars. What's going to happen? Like, thousands of dollars. What's going to happen?
On Monday.
Keep going in my head.
You know what I mean? And then it was like, so for us, we were just scrambling, but
Yeah.
Sunday turned into,
That's great.
Khalil calling, we got a generator, if you need it. Hey, I went out and got coffee somewhere, and that's when he called you, and he said, hey, what are you doing? So we're heading back to the shop to assess what's going on. What can we do to move forward to just try to do something? And if anything, I was like, let's just deep clean, with whatever natural daylight we have. And he said, I'm on the way there. Anthony's going to come over here, and we're going to bring a generator. Chad Foley texted me, and with a picture of his generator. He's got one that do a whole house. And I'm like, man, Marvin Greenfield called.
Marvin was ready.
He's calling. He's on the way to
I
church,
love
and
that
he's
about
like,
Marvin.
hey,
Marvin's
Marvin's like, hey man, I've got this generator.
He said, we'll wire the whole place up.
It'll do the whole house. And he's like, I'm gonna call my guys as soon as they get out of church. We're gonna throw a trailer. We're gonna bring it over here. I'm like, now it's like, whose feelings do we hurt that we don't want their generator? You know what I mean? Like, I don't need your help. So it literally was like that, and we were trying to figure out what to do. And then after talking with you we're probably going to have the more quiet option. Yeah. And so after we figured out how we were going to run it with a couple lamps, what we're going to run in the dark, how do we make this somewhat appealing, we got a call that the power, we saw the trucks. We were coming through there, just double checking. Walgreens is full of trucks on the side of Voice of Truth Church over here. So I'm like, oh, they're going to turn these lights on. And so
yeah,
we went
basically,
home,
long story
grabbed
short,
a few things. Power came
we are
on,
like
and it was awesome.
over-explainers.
Yeah, we're over-explainers. So what happened was people found out we had power, and they just started bringing supplies. We didn't even say, hey, can someone grab milk?
Now, I
They
did put
just
a milk post. I said I might need a milk dealer. I think I did say that yesterday on social media, and so that's when everything started to unfold.
So yeah, and then
Sounds
Charlie
great.
calls and says, hey, what if I bring the mayor out here? And so, Mayor Greenberg, Deputy Mayor James came out. His entourage came and was just asking how
And
we
that
felt
was a
about
really neat
singing.
experience because we had met him back when he was running for office, and he was really approachable, really nice. And then like 3 days later is when he got like shot at or something. 2 or 3 days later. Wow. It was so weird. It was so weird. Everybody was like, "You jinxed the mayor.
I know.
You jinxed the mayor." And I'm like,
Yeah,
for
he
the
might not
soon,
wake
maybe
up, bro.
maybe the soon to be mayor.
Where we going?
So yeah, so when he came
We'll go to
out,
Scooters.
he
It's like, we'll go to Scooters.
he was really approachable. His staff was approachable. Found out one of them was a Valley boy back in the day in '97, so it was pretty cool. So we
did a good time.
had a good time mixing it up. It made us. I think it made us feel. I think I could say this for you. It made us feel like validated. Like there's need. Sometimes I feel like, and I don't want to harp on this because I don't want to do the whole woe is me. But sometimes I feel like Valley gets the short end of the stick on them.
Everybody out here that grew up out here does.
So it made me
we
feel
all, you know what I'm
like.
saying? We all kind of feel like, does anybody really care about us?
Yeah, like this part of the county, the south end, west, I'm not hurting nobody's feelings on that one. You know what I'm saying? This part of the community sometimes gets overlooked. So I felt like, okay, he's listening. And I think he was genuinely like concerned, or at least I felt that way.
Right.
And
Yes.
I mean, if the mayor happens to see this, thank you, Mayor. But I told David, I said, if it does nothing like as far as funds, but it gets us exposure, and people are like, man, there's a coffee shop out there, which we did have. Valley's got a coffee shop, and I'm like, dude, we've been here almost 7 years.
Yeah.
And so if it gets us exposure, man, again, we got to turn a lot of dollars to make it work.
So for us it did. It felt like it solidified that sense of belonging that we were hoping, like Stomping Grounds would be the hub, a connecting point for the community, where neighbors just come in and just hang out, community comes in, and we see that. But when we're trying to, like, Julie's thing is like, I like being like we're hosting. I want people to have a good experience when they come here. and to have the community reciprocate that. You know what I mean? To say, we're going to serve you. You know what I mean? It was very humbling, kind of got us in our feelings. So it was a really long day. So when we got home, we left here around 5:45, 5:30, somewhere around there. And then picked up our kids, grabbed dinner, got home. Before I could even open my Jimmy John sandwich, Julie's on a business call in the living room, and I'm just talking numbers, and I was like, what's she doing? You know, and she's like hangs up the phone. She's like, we got a dilemma. And I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, that was Khalil. He just called me. He wants us to jump in on a catering order. And I'm like, what? She said he had a catering order for 1,200
He
people.
said 1,200 people, and I was
1,200
like,
people.
what?
I'm like, what are we going to do? He wants us to handle all the coffee. And I'm like, when? She's like, tomorrow morning at 6:30. And I'm like, what? So we got him on speakerphone again, and it's like, what are we doing here? He's like, I need y'all to cover coffee for 800 people. And I'm like, how are we gonna do this? So he's like, I got a couple extra Cambros. We told him what we had on site, and our BFFs, we called them, was like, you're not gonna believe what just happened. So I scarfed out my sandwich, and we ran down to Charlie's, picked up a couple of Cambros, came in here, and that was probably 8:30. Did a lot of dishes because we had that stuff kind of stored in the back. So we had to scrub them all down, wash them, do the math, get all the coffee out. And it's like, we're going to be slammed tomorrow when we open. Are we going to have enough coffee? You know what I mean? To fulfill this order. So we were kind of, there was anxiety, but a good anticipation, like we're going to make up some money.
Sure.
So we worked here till a few minutes before 11, got home. 2:15 this morning, she kicked me out of bed. We were here at 3 a.m., grinding beans at 3 a.m. Wow. And so Charlie came, picked up the order. We ran out to Broadbent too. It was amazing. I bet.
I made drip coffee for 4 solid hours. My last batch was 6:53 this morning. I didn't even know if the machine. I was nervous because we've had it for 7 years. I'm like, it. So when you do a double batch,
better keep up. It was expensive.
The boiler like drops pressure, so you got to build that back up. So in ours have like the temperature, it will not brew unless it's at 205 degrees. So it dropped down to 179. I'm like, oh no, this is not happening. So Charlie went out before. I call him both. Anyway, he went out before us and he kept calling her, are you on your way? And I'm like, oh my gosh, we're gonna be so late. But we arrived and it was so awesome. Y'all would have cracked the brick if you could have seen how many people were there. There were a lot of people volunteering, but I've never seen so many bucket trucks in my life.
We didn't see 600. We didn't.
It was really.
I mean, it was.
Yes, it was incredible.
Broadbent's parking lot was full.
Yeah.
A side secondary lot full. And then there was a line. And they're like, stay to the right, come on, you'll get to the food tent. I'm like, we're sitting here holding this coffee. I'm not waiting 9:30. So I just sped across this lot. You know what I mean? And like,
you never played bucket.
so it was amazing.
But what was
experience.
really neat about it was seeing all the people volunteering, but like they even had big bags of ice for their coolers, for their trucks. And these people were really excited. I can't really say how they felt. I could see their expressions. I think they felt like, man, this is really cool. Like, sure, they're earning, you know.
Yeah, but they feel like, okay, someone's here that cares that.
But when you go extra, you know, I've done that, not tooting my horn because it's been done for me. But you know, I've had a barista who was having a bad day, and I felt inclined to get her flowers. And she was like,
The small thing.
"You got any flowers?" It's like,
Because, you know, it's
I
kind
want her
of
to have a better day.
right.
You know,
those guys. You know, they're probably making some great money, right?
Yeah,
They're coming in from other counties, other states. They're here. They're like, hey, man, we're gonna make some fat
But
money,
they're
some fat overtime.
exhausted.
But they're exhausted.
They're probably
and so,
getting people in their ear all stinking day. You know,
So
he was
LG&E
tempted to
did
pull
good
up
by
on the
them.
truck and be like,
They
"What
had
are we getting?"
Piedmont Best, just fresh
It was-
fruit,
That's right.
goodies. It was awesome.
Good
And
experience.
then so we got back to the shop, and it was lined out the door. So I'm like, what's Julie doing? Julie took off. She's not helping me unload the car. And she's in line. You know, there's 3 baristas working, and we just now slowed down, probably the last hour or so for the day. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
Y'all
So it's
got a very long night, man.
yeah, I'm just kind of hoping they call back tonight and say, we
No.
still have 300 workers in the coffee, like, you know.
No, the
So-
thing is so with our ordering system, with our wholesaler, so we get to order 1 time a week. And so if you overshoot or undershoot, you're just kind of like, maybe you get an extra bag, maybe you don't. And so we had to use pretty much all of our week's supplies. So I'm like, what is this worth it? You know, because you want to think about your finances and just everything, your time and things like that. And David was like, well, we're just going to hope that when I call Carrie in the morning, she's going to be like, I got you.
Right.
And she did. She covered us. So it was great. So we were able to secure what we lost. We didn't lose, but
I'm
what
sure
we
your guys are going to be out on runs. It's like, man, they're going to be overloaded, but I don't want to turn down the 0. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
There is no 0.
Right.
There is no
Right.
0. It's crunch time. We
A
gotta
little's
take
better
it.
than none.
right.
That's what we like about this time of year is you're able to like slow down, not really worry too much. But when it's home time, it's like, well, you know, was it Christmas Eve was out there, or 1 o'clock in the morning almost, put in the furnace.
Right.
Oh,
Because we
wow.
knew that hey, it needed to be.
So was your reprieve like February, March maybe? People can open the windows a little bit.
Like,
Maybe
what
use
time of
service
year
calls
for
or no? That's probably your right. Well, I'm saying that's your like lax time, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
we're
like
not
right,
getting their little service jobs, getting their ductwork cleaned out or whatever.
furnaces don't break like air conditioners. So what has broken or what is going to break this season has already broke the first like couple cold snaps of the year. So right now everything that should have broken has already been broke. Now people are opening up windows.
Sure.
They're some people are even doing it without. The way the economy is going right now, people are just like having this out to see what's wrong with it. They're not even fixing it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's
That's
like we'll deal with that
sad.
next year.
That's
So,
sad.
but we're about to come up on pretty hot summer, I think.
But I'm sure there's some satisfaction when you, even though your family sacrificed not being with you and you're there at 1 a.m., but if it's really cold and even though you're gonna make that profit, you're still helping someone out.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that would weigh on you if you like, it's not the same, but like how we deal with, we have a lot of homeless community coming and going. For Mark to stay with our guy so that he didn't have to be out in the wind. We were driving down Dixie and there were chunks of stuff blowing. And so you have this sense of like you want to help and you're like you live and work around these people, so they're kind of like unofficially kind of like your people. You know what I mean?
It's kind of what we're here for. Tyler can speak on that. Just how it feels whenever you actually either fix somebody's unit or get them going.
Oh, it feels great. It feels amazing. Just like that. Someone has a baby there or something, they don't have no heat, It always
Yeah.
feels great. When you fix it.
Right.
And they're happy too, you know what I mean? So everybody's happy and just,
Yeah.
there is no way you're not going to be happy, so. Because everybody's smiling.
And that's good. And I think that's good to be in a position in employment, whatever you're doing in life, to feel like you have some sense of purpose.
Right.
I think
Anytime you're
everybody
involved
wants
in
that.
someone's quality of life elevating.
Yeah.
You know what
Sure.
I mean? It's got to be rewarding.
And if it's not, then you might need
If
a
it's
gut
not, you don't have the pulse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you really don't care, but it's like it's really cool, man.
That is
Yeah.
cool.
Because people are not going to replace their air conditioning until they have to.
Yeah.
very true.
That thing's hanging on, it's banging and clanging. They're like,
Yeah.
30%, it's 10% efficient, but it's like it's basically a box fan.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like buying tires for your car. Nobody buys tires
Right.
just because, you have to have a really good reason why to buy them.
They got to be slick, huh?
Yeah, so same thing with HVAC. Nobody's gonna buy new units because they want a new colored unit. It's gotta have a purpose, whether it's expensive to repair or it makes more sense to replace. I don't know, just hoping we have a good season.
We want another good one.
I'm sure you guys will. I was telling my father-in-law, we had said something about coming over to meet you, and I said, the scientist, he's like, who? See, he has a heating and air conditioning. I said, you see his billboards? I explained, and there, boom, it's like that marketing thing. I'm not, man, I don't know.
This guy.
Yeah, I'm like,
Sign this guy,
I'm
sign
not
tap.
in that. Man, some people have good talents and some people pour coffee. But
People love
no.
the coffee. You got to keep
Hey,
them up,
they do. But branding's a big deal. It's a big deal. I've been in a Starbucks with my kid who likes that pink drink, and I'm like, I'm not
Yeah, my
getting
daughter
it.
loves that.
We go in there, and I'm like, I want to buy that cup. It changes colors. I'm buying that daggone
I
thing.
don't get it. Like, Caitlin loves Starbucks. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's trash. I'm like,
Well,
it's just
you
'cause
know,
and then I bring her coffee from him. I try this. She's like, oh, that's good. I'm like, see, like this is real
That's
coffee.
good. You got to train your child in the way.
Yeah.
So teach your children the value of supporting local
Honestly,
businesses.
I do like a couple places. I'm not and this is not a diss, I'm not a Scooters fan because I like the taste of my coffee.
So I would say you guys probably went around and tasted everyone's coffee.
We've always been.
That's
coffee
him.
shoppers.
That's not me.
Like,
Listen,
always
I'm
been-
dirty.
Not to like.
Listen.
Who's bad? Who's not? I'm just into that. Like,
David,
I like.
you can say this. I'm dirty. I won't give anybody my money that's not my shop
Yeah, she
in
won't-
the coffee
she won't-
industry. If
yeah.
you're gonna buy me one and I'm
We're
gonna taste
Louisville,
it,
and I wanna
that's
stop
different.
it. So, but-
No, I'm joking.
So, matter of fact,
Sorta.
some guy asked me today, he's like, where do you go to get coffee when you have this place? Like, we go to Bean.
We do go to Bean.
We
We
go
like
to Bean.
Bean.
It's over on Goss Avenue. And, Billy opened up his shop pretty close to
Yeah.
when
It ain't
Stomping Grounds
Sister Bean?
opened.
No,
it's
just
just called
Bean.
Bean.
Is that the one
And,
that's got like a pretty big dining room?
It's
Like Goss and like.
Yes,
Marshall
yes,
Road?
yes.
No, it's on Goss and Texas Avenue.
But
So
it
it's
is
by the
Goss.
big Kroger on
It's
Eastern.
so
So take a
awesome.
left there. He's right on the corner. And so Billy roasts and a really salt of the earth kind of guy.
Yeah.
And so when we go in, and he always, if he's there, he'll walk over to the table and he'll talk with us and ask us how the shop's doing and generally concerned.
Yeah.
You know,
He
we get
seems
to
like
talk
a-
shop with him a little bit.
He's a community-oriented guy. You can just tell they do community things. Very similar to what we do here, and
And it's
so
it's
that's
kind
kind of
of
our lane of people.
he's doing something right because he has a very low turnover rate.
Yes.
It's
Of
the same
employees?
people,
Yes.
over there. So you can really tell that.
and he
they-
roasts his own coffee too, which is so rad.
Yeah.
And that's harder than
Yeah.
people think. I mean, even being, like I get a couple kids in here and they think that's cool to see it from the other side of the bar, and then they get back here and they're like, "Whoa, there's a lot." If I could go back to any of my teachers, it was Miss Martin, 4th grade. I remember doing like the whole fraction thing and measurements and all those things. And she said, I was so mad. I said, I'm not going to use this when I'm an adult. She goes, yes, you will. You will. Like she was really getting on me. And I told David when we trained to do what we're doing now, I said, if I could get a hold of her, she was so right. Because we weigh things. You don't just throw the milk and underneath the steamer and just there it is. I mean, there is very much what is the word I'm looking for?
There's a science behind it because you need to know how much.
There you
coffee
go.
you're
Look
gonna
at
use,
you
how much-
from the sciences over here. Yeah. Seriously, there is. It
know
really
your
is, and
product cost,
it's a
man.
craft.
We're
It's a
terrible at
craft.
that.
We start our baristas out with thermometers, but then we lose that like 3 days in. We want you to lose that. We want you to be able to feel what the temperature of a latte milk
Learn the
versus a
craft of it.
cappuccino,
Yeah.
and even using your senses, like
That's
it,
crazy. I didn't even know there was differences, man.
Yeah,
It is
like
a lot.
we have one of our newest team members this morning was making sure. I'm like, how do you feel about your milk? She's working it. I'm like, I reach over, I put the steam one back down the milk. I'm like, it was chirping too long. Trust me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And explain
So,
how
yeah.
what the chirping is doing is sending air into the milk and creating. It's going to create a little bit more foam than what you want. It's aerating your milk, and so if you don't hurry up and get that swished around and get the air bubbles out, it's going to harden up, and it's going to be a big clump of foam on the top. You know what I mean? So little things
So
like
there
that.
is
So
a
we want them to
craft.
learn the craft of it, where it's like, you know what I mean? It's one thing if you get a Hello Fresh meal or one of these, and they send you all the ingredients, everything's measured out just right. It's like, man, I made this amazing meal. No, you didn't. You just kind of put everything together like a puzzle. You really didn't cook it. But you know what I mean? Most of your grandmothers, or if you lived with your great grandmothers before you've been over their house, bro, like they throw everything in the kitchen sink, and you've never seen a measuring cup.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like just grab flour, a couple sticks of butter. You know what I mean? It needs this. You know what I mean? It's like this is amazing. And so there's a craft to it.
There is a craft, and I do like that that's becoming more and more of a thing for people to understand that, because I'm not knocking the Starbucks and the Scooters of the world, but I mean, flip a switch, there it is for you.
Well, there has to be the bigger guys to a certain
Sure.
everyone.
Sure, everybody's got
There's
their
so many
place.
cups
There's
of
a
coffee
place.
made every day.
Right.
Yep,
Right.
everybody's got their
Right.
place, so.
So there is a thing where everybody's saying, well, how do you feel about this? We went from us being the
Only
person
coffee
here,
shop.
and then we went to 4 in a couple months. And so it's like, well, there's a lot of people that can get cups of coffee. We can't serve everyone in the
Sure.
community a cup of coffee at the same time every day. So we really have to think in terms of how are we going to be the best?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Instead of are we going to serve the most, but we're going to serve the best. And I think that we create a culture here where it's like, customer service is a tail that wags
Sure.
the dog. We believe in the product, we believe in the recipes, they're going to like it. If you make it like we've trained you, they're going to like it. But it's kind of like good customer service, covers a multitude of poor drinks. You know what I mean? That kind of deal. So if you mess it up, it's kind of like, Mark really kind of screwed up this caramel latte, but man, he's such a good dude, man. I'm like, he made it right. You know what I mean? And it's not some, person just playing on their phone, you mess it up, and they don't care. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, they mess it up, and then, they make
I
it
like the way you said that because I was going a little more greedy and saying I just wanted to be the trailblazer. I just wanted to be the trail.
Yeah.
Can I be called
Well,
a
you
pioneer?
are. You are the trailblazer. You're doing it. So, you're the trailblazer.
Yeah, because we have the same thing in our industry. There's a lot of out-of-town firms coming in buying other HVAC companies.
Really?
And it would be bad for me to think that I'm going to be the only HVAC guy around. So what we kind of do is we actually meet how you meet with the guy out there on Gauze and probably talk coffee. We do the same thing with other HVAC guys. Like, hey, how can we provide a better service for our customers? So at the end of the day, the customer is really the most important part of the whole situation.
That's neat because I would have honestly never thought that you would. Not saying, well, I don't know you that well, but like, because it is. I mean, obviously you need to make money, so there's that element of. There's that element of like, we got to strive to be up here, the upper echelon of, HVAC, because, I mean, you want the business, you want to build something to leave for your kids or your family or whoever, your legacy, so to speak. So that really surprises me. That's good to know that about you. That's pretty cool.
But if you go in and do it right, you provide that service, they're going to tell everyone they know about what you all brought to the table for them.
Yeah.
It's more than just like, hey, they were $400 cheaper. Well, I'll pay $400 more for the team that really gets it right. They were respectful. They were in here. They told me why their stuff was $400 more.
Yeah.
They explained this. They walked me through the process instead of they just came in here and they were rushing me through a process. So hey, you get a family, you do it, and their parents need a new unit, they're going to call you. So
And maybe
that's
guys
awesome.
just play better than females.
I don't know. Some of the guys in our industry are kind of crazy, but
Really.
I won't get into that.
Right.
But
I'm surrounded by a bunch of great girls.
we try to just
Good with that.
educate everyone. We know that we can't take every phone call. Last year we were turning away more work than we actually took in. So we're gonna have customers that are our customers that when they call us, we just can't serve them. So we're trying to provide a good list of other contractors that when we get busy,
That's
I'm
pretty
like,
cool.
hey, call this guy over here. I can't get you until a couple of days or whatever. Or call him and he'll get you straightened
Well,
out.
that's good that you do that because,
Kind of vet the people.
that's really good though. That's actually a nice thing to do for other people because some people would be like, hey, I'm gonna help you.
Because every business has its up and downs. Like
Sure.
days that I'm extremely busy, there might not be a guy that's super busy, but he might get busy and then send me work when we're not completely booked. So it's kind of like
that
a
is
give and
good.
take.
So whose fault is it, Anthony, that we haven't got that thermostat that I asked you about?
Oh God.
Were you too busy? You didn't send out.
You tell me what to do.
Yeah, it's a joke. It's a joke. So Anthony was in the shop like 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, "Hey, bro, I think we want one of those. They want one of those fancy. We want a fancy thermostat, for the house. So Julie wants to be bougie. She's like,
I don't want to be bougie. I want to save pennies.
She said, I want to be able to change the temperature of the house from the phone.
Listen, we
So-
get a high LG&E bill.
So, but the cool
Change
thing
it up.
is, obviously I'm just joking,
No.
but
That's one thing about
But here's the
this
thing,
young
though,
guy
honestly.
is if I don't write it down,
No, he's
I
messing
know,
with you. That's
I know
smart
that.
way.
You have way more on your plate than worry about one thermostat. Even yeah.
But please,
Even
God,
though-
don't leave it
even
up to
though
David to put one
he
in
lives
for
down the street from me. Even though he lives down the street, he passes by my house. But, but seriously, but the cool thing about that whole thing is working with each other.
Yeah.
You come here all the time. You've been supporting the stomping ground, so it's we're gonna call you up. You know what I mean? So it's just the way it is. You feed off of each other. It's like, hey, this person's been helping support what's going on. They puts food on the table at home. So why wouldn't we just call you to come out and put our thermostat in? So we're just gonna wait. We're not gonna call anybody else.
Well, we'll definitely get one.
Just
You
wait,
should have one
just
here
wait.
too.
It might be 3 years, but
Yeah.
we'll get you one.
We'll get you on a schedule.
Hey, we moved, but thanks.
Yeah.
Look, they're so big time. Did you see the way he said it? We'll get you on the schedule.
Right.
If he had hair, he would have have done this. I'm playing.
right.
I'm just playing.
But now, I can't remember who knows this.
That's okay.
The thermostat.
The thermostat.
Thermostat.
Well, I do have a thermostat that would be good for because y'all would have known if you had power or not. Because it would send you an alert.
Oh man.
They have those kind of thermostats in there?
Yeah.
Man, we are in the dark ages, David.
We went old school. So what we were doing, I just
Actually,
reminded her,
we
because
got
everybody's on
told
cell
once
phone. We
again.
have a landline phone. I'm like, when it starts ringing, you'll know that we have power.
You have landline?
No, we had
We
so
have a
many
whole
AC
landline.
problems last year. And so when I called the maintenance people, they were like,
Property management.
they
company
used,
makes
I
this
can't even remember who they
Right, yeah.
used. I can't remember who it was. But we had one thing after another, and then we came in here. Well, Mark called and was like, I think the ceiling tile's gonna fall on the floor. I'm like, what? He was like, that just a little bit of a leak.
Yeah.
It's bowed out. And then he calls me back 30 minutes later. Okay, well, it's falling on the floor. And so something happened with the condensation line that was clogged. It should have been clogged, or I don't know. But it was a nightmare. And I was just like, dude, we're sweating up in here. We can't. It's 100 degrees behind that bar.
Yeah, probably
People
a lot
complain about it
there,
being cold on this side. It's hot on our side.
Yeah.
So it was a mess. It was a mess. So we would have totally. But they were like, no, this is who you use.
Yeah. Properties like this, you kind of got to go with who they recommend.
Yeah, I
a lot
don't
of times
want
they'll
them
send
to put me
maintenance
out.
guys out first. A lot of times they'll send a maintenance guy, and if they can't fix it, they'll call the contractor.
They sent out the person 3 times.
That's yeah. So anyway,
3 times. And then I got the
but
bill.
we'll get
And I was like,
we'll get things set up. We'll get things set up.
Are
yeah.
you?
Well, we can at least do like a maintenance on this. A lot of times look through your lease, sometimes you'll say that you're responsible for maintenance, and you want to have your own company do that. So if there is something that comes up major, then they don't say that it's something that you all cause. So look in the lease.
We'll do that.
Cool. Well, that's about it. I appreciate y'all taking the time.
Well, we appreciate you coming out
Thanks
here,
for
showing
coming
us some
here,
love out here. Some support.
Anytime you want to get on here and talk coffee or something, man, you know.
Well, we might have to make this a regular.
So at least you got one cup of coffee up here. Last
I
time,
wouldn't be regular. I started sweating.
He's got a monster edition.
actually,
Wasn't it a
yeah, actually
monster?
we got we made some cold brew yesterday, so we got that in too. So if anybody's watching this, we got a cold
Man,
brew.
the cold brew is dangerous though because it's highly caffeinated, but it sips like a tea. It sips like a tea. You got to be real careful with that.
Last time
Because
we
you're
were on
going to
the
spend your
podcast.
day in the bathroom, or your party's going to be like this.
Right,
need a bike to ride.
right,
Right, but it's good. Our cold brew is pretty good.
It is. It's really good. Last time we were on your podcast, you had bookers, so
I know.
I guess I.
Had some bookers. Yeah, I think I just got that bottle. It's almost finished off. We need to probably do it again.
I thought about getting my liquor license and doing some small things, like maybe on Sundays, like some mimosas and.
In here?
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
I've thought about it, but I'm spending this year. I really want to get out of my comfort zone, and we were really close to getting a building in another county a couple months back, and it wasn't meant to be. We couldn't get it worked out with the guy that owned the building. There was some. I say personality conflicts. That sounds like a bad divorce, but there was some kind of personality conflicts. It just wasn't gonna work. But anyway.
You got to show up to the meeting.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
yeah,
kinda-
the 2 meetings that you set up, even one on the phone, you got to show up to. But anyway, I thought about doing the liquor license thing for some things, but I really want this to be my year that I stretch out, and I'm really needing that drive-through. You know what I mean? I really want to. I want to get to a point where I don't get upset. I'm excited for my friends. So if you see this, I'm excited for you when you go on vacation. But there's a little sense of like, am I ever gonna get to do that? I don't want to be a crybaby because you got to put in what you got to put in to keep your business going, going and thriving. But I do get to that point where it's like, dude, I just want to leave for a weekend.
Yeah.
Like just a solid weekend and be gone and not really have to worry about, from A to Z what's going on, because that's hard,
So
We'll
with
get
that, if
there.
I can piggyback on that for a little bit, and
Not
hopefully
very, because you said the time is up, so
yeah,
I'm not.
well, do it
You're
in
a
a
little
couple
bit.
seconds.
Yeah, we got a couple
Because I want to talk
You're a
about,
little
I want
bit
to talk about
of
the
a lot of
drive-through
it.
for a little bit. Obviously, when you think coffee shops, people think drive-throughs now, right? One big company here in town is actually shutting down their stores that don't have drive-throughs.
They don't have drive-throughs?
Yes. So on one hand, you can see the wisdom behind that, right? It's a serious source of revenue, right? I talked to one owner one time that when they added the drive-through, the first, I think, 6 months, it was 50-50 right off the bat.
Oh, wow.
And then it was 80-20 after 6 months, 80% drive-through. And I can say this for Julie, like as cool as it would be to have a drive-through, I don't think that we would like to see that if it's going to sacrifice community.
That's good.
If you're here and you think like, if you're watching this and you're thinking, oh, if they only had a drive-through, I could probably be there more often. Call, man. I mean, if you have your little kid in the car, we have several people that do that now. They're like, man, I got my kid in the car seat. I'll run it out. So will whoever's working here. And when you're thinking of supporting small businesses, like if you get out of the car and you come in, it's actually, it might even be quicker than 20 minutes in a drive-through line.
Right.
You know, you got out of your car and you walked, but you were still in and out in a quicker time. But if the shop, whether it's Stomping Grounds or another business you frequent that's a mom and pop, whatever it's going to take, you're still going to support them, you know, anyway. So just make that, you know what I mean? And we're at this time where people are learning how to be social again. You know, we've been kind of coming in, and I did a social media post with our gym ladies that come in every Saturday. There is a community of ladies, and they pack this room out. I mean, you can't squeeze a fart in here on Saturdays. And one day they were meeting in there, and they pulled the big tables together. There's like 15 of them. And I'm like, this is why we really don't have to have a drive-through. Like, this is what Julie envisioned Stomping Grounds to be, is like a community watering hole. So we don't want people to lose that when you could, you know what I mean? When Morgan sits over every morning, he's like Norm on Cheers, you know, you walk in, everybody knows Morgan. And when customers come in, they stand around with their coffee, they'll shoot the breeze for 5 or 6 minutes before they go to work. But they do that 5 days a week, you know what I mean? And that means something to them. So, and I wouldn't want to lose that. I mean, I would like the extra money that it would likely bring in, but yeah, I think Julie's doing a good job looking down the road, like in what ways, you know, can she, you know, pivot a little bit this year and to be more efficient and to add other things. And catering has been on the deal, delivery, and so we've done some portable things with Valley Sports. We've gone to Stone Street Elementary and done some things over there. We've gone to a couple of schools. But just maybe moving into team staff meetings, and you know, if you have a HVAC meeting with a bunch of different companies or whatever, you know, the BMI groups tends to meet. Y'all have meetings whenever we're at work. You know, it's kind of hard for us to escape. You know, as of late, but cater those things. You know, staff meetings. We have 15 people. We'll take care of it. You know, that kind of deal. But it'd be rad if you bought a building and had a drive-through, and we still had catering, and we still had a big dining room. You know what I mean? We just kind of hit all.
Just be the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you would lose the whole dining room experience.
That's what I was kind of thinking. Because people are going to be loyal to you. They're going to like coming in here. You know, they like that.
Yeah. And we like seeing everybody. You know what I mean? I would hate to see the people that I talk to every day.
Absolutely.
Like, I only see them at that.
I've got customers that do not come in and sit, but I've got one that calls every day. She work every day. Hey, it's me. Can you get my drink? Or I'll even look. And this is so rad about places like not just Stomping.
We know the
Grounds.
time. You're talking about Kara.
Yeah.
The phone will ring, oh, it's Kara.
It's
We
Kara.
don't even
We
look
don't
at the
even pick it up, but we'll
clock.
pick
She's
it up.
coming from Dynacraft, bro. She's like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm on the way. Can you get me ready? We got you. There'll be 3 people, and I'll be like, Kara, just pay tomorrow. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
so,
take care
and
of
I'm not just saying it because it's Stomping Grounds, because there are other shops like that
Yeah.
in our area. There are some really rad coffee shops, and every coffee shop has their own personality. But I do love that about this community. This community sometimes is in the past that when I was in high school, like, Valley, well, she got the Valley hair, you know, stupid stuff like that. But being from Valley is not a knock, or PRP, it's cool, man. Like being from the South End, I feel like you got a little bit of a kind of,
Yeah, swagger.
come
a little
on.
swagger to it. Yeah, a little
You know,
toughness,
it's
you know
a
what I mean? Like,
different.
you know, it's like we can all get into it and talk smack about each other. But bro, if somebody from the East End talks bad about it,
Right.
I'm like, hey, look, dude.
Exactly. And that's what I love about this place. So I don't think we would lose that, but I do want to tap into the moms that are having a bad morning. They're going to get their kid out. I've got an officer that calls for his call. He's like, man, I get my kid in the seatbelt. She starts tripping. So like I gotta keep her in the
takes off
seatbelt. She takes off her
shoes,
shoes
she rips her shirt,
and
you
her
know,
socks.
like,
I can't bring
it's
her
all
in.
good, man.
So he calls. So I want to have a drive-through for that. Maybe we will. If this is our year, it's meant to be. If not, we're just gonna work till we can't work no more until we feel
So
like
we
the
do have a
summer's closed
Venmo account, so if you want to make a donation to Drive Through Fund, we'll
up.
set
You
that
have no
up. So,
shame.
hey, bro, look.
Do not embarrass me. You have no shame.
Hey, bees like that. Times is tough.
Golly.
We'll get the element money soon.
There you go. I wish. I wish.
That's great. That's great. Well, thank you for having us.
No problem.
Thank
I hope
you.
y'all get a drive through.
Yeah.
And,
Maybe we will.
What to do this weekend?
Well, man, I tell you, dude, like seriously, you've been doing such a good job, I think, promoting businesses on our end of town. Like, this is where you're from, dude, and like it means a lot to us that you throw out stomping grounds. You know, take photos when you go in. Everywhere you go, take photos of the places, and on some level, I mean, you're just lifting up other people, and that's what our culture needs, man. We live in a time where it's all about me. Do you, and everybody's, you know. I mean, it's like our narcissism meter is all kind of raised up a little bit because of our phones. You know what I mean? It's hard to battle that because you want to be successful, you want to be heard, you want that, but at the same time, people want to feel like supported, and so I think that you do a good job with that.
I appreciate that.
I think you do try to pull the business together, and I think that you, you know. To me, when I see your signs around, I don't just see a guy that's chasing a buck. I think that I love that your signs are in your hometown, you know, on your end of town.
I get a lot of questions about that. They're like, why are they all right there? I'm like, well, we want to go deep right here where we live.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of homes out in our area that need to be served.
Sure.
Yeah.
And they need to be served well. You know, a lot of the bigger companies don't want to come out here because they look at the demographics and like, why would I spend my marketing dollars here?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of good quality HVAC that needs to be done right here on the Dixie Highway area.
That's
So,
good, yeah.
And I think there is that pride when you talk about toughness, people want to support.
Yeah, but
their
even
own.
if you do go out to the East End, don't let those, because I get this too.
Did you say those?
Hang on, no, I didn't mean like those. I didn't mean it like that. I did not mean it like that. But you know, like, I still get people say this to me, don't forget where you come from.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I'm not running a Starbucks. I'm a mom and pop shop.
Right.
Like, I can't go on vacation this year, so don't come holler at me like I've got money, because it's quite the opposite. But, I mean, I'm doing my thing and I'm holding it down. But it's a struggle, and it's a struggle for everybody. It's even a struggle for people that make millions of dollars every year because we don't know their plight. It is very hard to be a boss. It's very hard to just even be an employee. It's just hard in life anymore. We're changing as a society just rapidly. So we're all just trying to get in where we fit in. And so don't let, if you do go out that way, don't let those people be like, not those, I said it again. Don't let people be like, oh, don't forget where you come from or whatever. So it's your job to explain how you feel like you want to do. Take care of your family and you and yours, because you'll still take care of your people out here. You're not going to forget where you came from. We don't need to be reminded to not forget where we came from. Come on. We know.
Well, somebody told me, somebody asked me one time, they said, what do people in the East End call people from the South End? So what they said, mom and dad. You know, it's like people move out, you know, they'll move out on the other side of town. But so I love when people are in the East End and they stay in the East End where they live and they just love their community and they set their roots down and they're generations deep of serving their community well. And so I think that so that goes to what I was saying, where you're promoting businesses that where you grew up and where you live. You know what I mean? And so it just means a lot to us.
We are still moving to the country and making a commute. I do love this place, but I do want quiet.
We'll see about that.
I want quiet. I'm getting quiet. I'm getting what I want. Thank you, guys.
Well, thanks for
I
having
like
us.
country too, so
Yeah, I need quiet.
for sure.
I appreciate y'all.
Yeah,
Thanks for what you
absolutely.
do.
This thing is heavy. I'm like got my fingers crunched up.
like, oh.
It's like lifting a weight.
I know it's a lot to it.
Thanks, guys, so much. Y'all make it
This is fun, man.
easy.
This is fun. Yeah.